Did your weekend plans include staying in, taking a shower, putting on comfy clothes, and binge watching hours of K-drama with some of your favorite snacks? Sounds like the most satisfying weekend plans, and anybody would ditch going out and partying for this. Welcome. You're listening to TALRadio powered by Touch a Life Foundation, and this is Foodology. I am radio host Devansh, and on this show, I talk about the enormous world of a little word called food. The rise of K-media is massive, and especially in the recent pandemic years. In 2017, nobody would have thought that it would gain the kind of popularity it has today. And to be honest, back then, I didn't even know that such shows exist. Hashtag sorry not sorry. Well, it's kinda sad for people who were gatekeeping the heartwarming, thrilling, amusing, raw, and real K-drama series. Because now, the whole world knows about it. Korean media has reached the pinnacle of global success by giving easy access to their content. Approachable, likable, and relatable characters, and a high-quality production. Rags to riches, rich boy meets poor girl, children defying their parents, all of these interesting plots, they kinda sound simple, but they all have their own unique Korean twist. It has gained millions of fans worldwide. The Korean pop culture fan base is all fired up, and for good reasons, and I can proudly say that I too am a K-culture fan. Honestly, I am. I'm not just saying it because of the fear of getting cancelled. I love K-pop. Okay, but now you may be wondering, why is this relevant to Foodology? Well, if you connect the dots, it's not just Korean drama and Korean pop that has peaked in the recent years. It's also Korean food. People these days are increasingly interested and engaging in Korean culture on multiple levels. They want to learn the language, along with Korean literature, film, history, political power, culture, and obviously Korean culinary arts. It's so intriguing to understand how a very small country with limited natural resources managed to become a giant economy and an influencer in the cultural field. In 2020, South Korean noodle brand Nongshim alone recorded sales of over $1 million. So far, people of the world have consumed 178% more Korean instant noodles than they did in 2020. It's insane. People are now seeking exciting new culinary experiences and on-trend flavors, and K Cuisine offers just that. People have been gravitating towards Korean meals that incorporate bold, innovative flavors used in sauces that are balanced with banchan to complement the main dish. Korean barbecue restaurants have especially become prominent on the national dining scene, especially among younger consumers. Even though Korean food has had a very short list of dishes which are promoted globally, as compared to its neighbors China and Japan. But this K-wave stays winning and ever rising. The traditional ingredients of Korean food consists of grains and vegetables. However, oceanic regions have used fish and seaweed. Medicinal herbs such as garlic, green onions, red peppers were also used to enhance flavor and add to the health benefits of food. The Korean fermentation technology has played an important role in preserving the food resources, including legumes, vegetables, and fish. Heavily influenced by Japanese, Chinese, and Western cultures, the evolution of Korean cuisine has been a colorful one. The earliest people of the Korean peninsula were a small band of hunters and gatherers. The seas surrounding the Korean peninsula, the Yellow, the East China Sea, and the Sea of Japan, provide not only many types of seafood but also moisture for the fertile soil needed to grow rice and grains. For centuries, Koreans have eaten products of the land and the sea. They began growing grains thousands of years ago, and rice cultivation was introduced to some parts of the country around 2000 BC. During this time, they also grew soybeans, red beans, and other grains. They cured and pickled fish. They were skilled in making wine and bean paste, and they often used honey and oil in cooking. Chinese and Japanese invasions during the 14th through 20th centuries gave rise to a culinary influence on Korea that still remains today. Like the Chinese and Japanese, Koreans eat rice with almost every meal, and they use chopsticks. Eating with chopsticks was originated in China in Han Dynasty. It became a norm in Korea because of the heavy control of Chinese in the northwest Korean regions. Unlike China and Japan, however, Korea was never a tea-drinking nation. Historically, China and Japan had to boil their water for it to be fit to drink. Korea's water was pure, which led them to discover other beverages, such as ginseng, ginger drinks, wines, and spirits. Su Chunghwa is a ginger drink, which is often served on celebratory occasions during the winter, especially at the New Year's. When Buddhism made its way all the way from India to Korea, it was fully embraced by the most powerful kingdoms. And with the spread of Buddhism, eating of meat was banned throughout much of the land. This led to the development of a primarily vegetarian cuisine. This vegetarian wave did not last long, because when the Mongols invaded in the 13th century, they ended the ban on eating meat and brought many new food influences, since they needed meat-rich diets to carry out their expeditions and conquests. Western trade with China filtered into Korea, and contact with other lands increased. Traders and adventurers from Korea visited other nations and brought back exotic items. Eventually, contact with the West introduced the chili pepper to Korea. And since then, Korean cuisine thrives on chili peppers. This country shares many similarities with other Asian cuisines, such as the importance of rice and vegetables, and cooking methods such as stir-frying, steaming, and braising. Korean food is very spicy. Red pepper paste, green onions, soy sauce, bean paste, garlic, and ginger are some of the many seasonings Koreans use to flavor their dishes. Majorly, the food is served with rice to cool down the heat of the spices. Now, until the 20th century, Korea was a rural farming society with a good deal of wild food gathering. Farmers worked hard and intensively to cultivate their land. As a result, Korean food tends to be hearty and healthy, unlike its neighbors, Japan and China. For example, a traditional Korean breakfast would not include leftover rice from last night, but a rich soup made either of beef or pork. Koreans also love to eat a lot of preserved and fermented foods because they had to be made for the harsh winters. The ability to create tasty food using microbes reflects human culinary innovation at its best. It is impossible to pinpoint when exactly the art of fermentation was practiced by humans, but complex studies and researches have found Neolithic vessels with intentional fermentation of fruit, rice, or honey beverages in around 10,000 years ago. Many ancient records show preparation and consumption of fermented foods in Korea since the 3rd or the 4th century AD. But I am sure that it was practiced undocumented long before that. Fermentation is a great preservation technique as it reduces food wastage and spoilage. Moreover, fermentation may improve digestibility and nutrition, providing vitamins, proteins, essential amino acids, and essential fatty acids. There are clearly types of fermented foods consumed across countries and continents, such as sauerkraut, kimchi, curtido, fermented cabbage, kombucha, and whatnot. I could talk about fermentation a lot, but we'll save that for another episode. Let's not sidetrack. Koreans love fermentation. The Korean foods that best represent this tradition of fermentation include kimchi, doenjang, gochujang, ganjang, jeotal, and magyoli, whose fermentation can take anywhere from several months to several years. And the degree of fermentation is a key factor in the taste and flavor of food. You all might have heard of kimchi, and if not, it's alright. Kimchi is a general term used to refer to a variety of fermented vegetables. Kimchi has a very long history in Korean cuisine, initially with radish and later extended to a lot of different vegetables. Gochujang is Korea's traditional fermented condiment. It is a red-hot paste made of steamed rice or barley or rice cake powder or rice porridge mixed with fermented soybean, salt, red pepper powder. Gochujang came into existence in the late 16th century when red chili peppers were introduced to Korea. Ganjang and doenjang are the next important traditional Korean fermented food. Soybean sauce and soybean paste, respectively. They are the essential flavor and nutritional basis for any authentic Korean food. Ganjang is used as an essential condiment to enhance saltiness and flavor, whereas doenjang can be eaten as a sauce for vegetables, fish, and meats, and it can be added as an additional ingredient for a little bit of protein and flavor. Jeotal or jeot is a salted and fermented food in Korean cuisine, used as an important additive for improving the taste of foods or alone as a food itself. It is made by adding salt to various types of seafoods, such as shrimps, oysters, shellfish, fish eggs, and fish intestines. And those foods become palatable because of the process of fermentation. There are 4 distinct seasons in Korea: spring, summer, fall, and winter. This means that there are abundant and a variety of foods which can be available in the different seasons. In spring, Koreans enjoy spring greens, which are not seen throughout the long winters. In summers, they cool down with cold foods and fresh vegetables and fruits. And they also consume a lot of high-protein food to replenish their energy. During the harvest season, there are a lot of foods. However, in the cold winters, Koreans rely on fermented foods, which store for much longer. If you're not a fan of K-culture and somehow you want to get into Korean food and don't know where to start, don't worry, I'm here to help you out. There are a few dishes which are a must and will sweep you off your feet. And trust me, if you ever go out to a Korean restaurant, you can have the most aesthetic Instagrammable feed and stories ever. Here we go. Bulgogi. Bulgogi is a juicy and savory dish of grilled and marinated beef. It is one of the most popular Korean meat dishes throughout the world. And did you know that it was ranked as the 23rd most delicious food in the world according to CNN? It is often grilled with garlic and sliced onions, which add flavor to the meat. The meat is usually wrapped in lettuce and is traditionally eaten with a thick red spicy paste. Samgyetang. Samgyetang is a chicken noodle soup made with whole chicken and ingredients such as glutinous rice, ginseng, jujube, and garlic. The sam in the name Samgyetang means ginseng, which is an essential ingredient for this chicken noodle soup. Koreans traditionally eat this during the hottest days in July and August to supplement their energy lost due to the hot weather. Japchae. Japchae is a traditional Korean noodle dish made up of stir-fried, sweet potato starch noodles, thinly shredded vegetables, beef, and a hint of soy sauce and sugar. Japchae means noodles mixed with a variety of vegetables. And depending on the area, different ingredients like mushrooms may be added to the mix. These noodles are known for their sweet and flavorful taste, yet soft and slightly chewy texture because of the potato starch noodles. Bibimbap. Bibimbap is essentially a bowl of mixed ingredients, including rice, beef, soy sauce, gochujang, vegetables, fried eggs. The ingredients found in bibimbap vary from region to region, and it's extremely versatile. The infamous Korean fried chicken. The Korean-styled fried chicken is popular throughout the world. Their fried chicken is slightly different from the usual fried chicken that we know. Their chicken has a more delicate coating than others and use unique seasonings like sweet chili and soy sauce. Jajangmyeon. Jajangmyeon is a noodle dish in a black bean sauce. It is a popular Korean Chinese dish which is topped with diced pork and vegetables. The noodles used in this dish are thick and chewy, which are made up of wheat flour and salt. They are thinner than udon noodles, but they're wider than ramen. Gimbap. Gimbap is a dish made of dried seaweed, rolled up with white rice and various ingredients such as spinach, carrots, cucumbers, radish, eggs, and whatever you name. It is a very convenient dish to travel with and take on picnics. Gimbap is named on the traditional filling which is used. For example, if tuna is used, then it would be called tuna gimbap, and so on. Sunbudu jjigae. Sunbudu is uncurdled and unpressed tofu. In simple words, this is a dish of tofu in broth. However, it is made with spicy seasonings like red pepper oil and red pepper powder. Bingsu. Bingsu is a popular Korean ice dessert, originally made of ice shavings and sweetened with red beans. Bingsu is a summer favorite of all Koreans. Dasik. These are traditional tea cookies and are made mainly from either sesame seeds or rice flour, or even soybean flour. They come in a variety of colors. And these natural colors come from white, brown, and black sesame seeds, and green comes from green matcha tea. Songpyeon. Songpyeon is like a rice cake made from rice flour dough and is filled with a variety of sweet fillings. They are hand-shaped and steamed. This list could go on and on. Let me tell you, with Korean food's authentic and healthful ingredients, not to mention bold, the popular cuisine is certainly resonating with our youth today. And these trends show no sign of slowing down. If Indian food is drama, Italian food is rom-com, then I'd say Korean food is definitely action. Thank you so much for sticking around with me on this episode of Foodology. I had an incredible time talking to you. This is radio host Devansh signing off. Hope you have a beautiful and a magical day ahead. See you soon.